It's January 1948. The Avro Tudor 4, known as Star Tiger, departed from London with the final destination of Havana in Cuba. The aircraft was owned by British South American Airways and was essentially a severely modified Avro Lancaster bomber. The plane could carry 32 passengers, but on this trip it only bore 25, plus 6 crew. Incidentally, the airline was formed by ex-World War II pilots in order to service South American routes that were formerly unprovided for. Refuelling stops along the way were Lisbon, the Azores, and finally Bermuda. The leg between Azores and Bermuda was the toughest part of the flight, with nearly 2,000 miles between them. Winds in this area are unpredictable and dangerous. The plane's heating system failed, producing condensation-induced icicles inside the cabin at 21,000 feet, and a compass failed in the cockpit. This was all during the first leg of the journey. Everything was fixed in Lisbon, and off they went. On the way to the Azores, the same compass failed again, followed by the heating system, and the landing when they got there wasn't any easier. With a 60-knot headwind blasting them, they touched down in Santa Maria. When the Star Tiger departed for Bermuda, the flight time was planned for 12.5 hours, and with 16 hours worth of fuel, they should have had nothing to worry about. Another Avro Lancaster Tudor, piloted by a Frank Griffin, left the Azores an hour before the Star Tiger and had agreed to radio weather information to them. The Star Tiger was beaten with heavy rain and strong winds after takeoff, but despite this, it slowly closed on Griffin's plane in the hours that followed. Both planes were in contact with Bermuda as well as each other for the whole flight. The navigator checked their position at the halfway point and figured them to be on course. But about 10 hours in, Griffin realised that his plane has been blown 60 miles off course. And when the Star Tiger checked their position again, they realised they were also off course. Griffin contacted Star Tiger when he was about 2 hours away from Bermuda to tell them he was switching radio frequencies so he could talk to approach control. This was his final contact with Star Tiger. The rest of his journey to Bermuda was fine. Shortly after that radio call, Star Tiger requested a bearing from Bermuda. The signal was not strong enough, and they were unable to provide one. The request was repeated, and finally Bermuda gave Star Tiger a bearing. This information was acknowledged by the crew. Half an hour later, the Bermuda controller attempted to contact Star Tiger again, but there was no reply. Another 15 minutes later, he tried again, but Star Tiger was lost. After another 35 minutes of dead air, he declared an emergency. Without so much as a distress call, Star Tiger had disappeared without a trace. No wreckage, bodies, or even a trace of oil was ever found, despite extensive air and sea searches of the area where the plane should have been. One of the passengers was Air Marshal Sir Arthur Conyngham. He was an Air Force commander during the Second World War, and his death was front-page news alongside the assassination of Gandhi and the death of Orville Wright.